working in construction, my mom and dad were
and the realization of a film story is fascinating, not only for its size when it's on the big screen, which is the only theatrical medium, right? The small screen is informational at best. It gives you the information of what a story is, but it doesn't make it larger than life and really give it some kind of spiritual or emotional or heft to really elevate you as a person. The thing that is most fascinating about the realization of these things is the fluidity of it. It's always changing. You may start with a Volkswagen and end up with a Chevrolet. You never know. Even when you have a script in your hand and you go to make a movie, you need to pay attention to the way in which it wants to change as you're doing it. Because it will want to change as you bring people on board, your cinematographer and all your elements, or you bring your actors on board, and you bring your editor on board, you put music onto it, and it all just continues to change. And so the fluidity of it is the value. That's the value, and what you're trying to capture is that. And the people all too often look at film and they go, they see it as a static thing. It's a set of images. It's a set of sounds. It's a box of popcorn. It's a date. It's in a theater. But the irony is that what you take for granted is that your eye has captured something that is totally in motion. And it's just moving along. And the fascinating thing to me about directing, which is probably it's not my favorite thing to do, but it is most all-inclusive and really gets me, because I get so many creative outlets while I'm doing it, is that you're not only telling a story of the script, but you're telling a story of everyone in the company. Because what you see on the screen is just the tip of an iceberg. It's the reflection of a tip of an iceberg. And that's the other thing people don't realize, that when you're watching a movie, you're seeing the experience of people, 80, 240 people, whatever your company is, that is all banded together to focus their attention and the camera and the sound and the music on telling a story. And everyone identifies with the story they're telling in the crew and in the company. So they lend that energy. So when you're watching a movie, what you're really watching, like right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people in this room. 9, 10. So we have a minion. Now, so you have here, you don't have just simply an interview with me. You have an energy, a focus of energy that is coming here. And the more intricate that, if it's not just an interview, but it is a story you're telling, and you're creating a scene, and I'm about to kill you, or whatever, then you get my point. Well, I think ultimately in life, that's in your search. You're trying to find out, or trying to know, experience, what we're doing here. That's why we tell our stories. I mean, storytelling is the most sacred thing that we have, because it's the way one generation transmits its information to the next generation. All its information. It's genetic information, it's monetary information, it's historical information, it's social information, all of that. And so the telling of a story becomes a very, very important thing in terms of reaffirming our ability to be one, our ability to overcome our fear of death, our lack of control or power over our mortality. It becomes the way in which we experience each other as human beings and our place in the world. That's why we tell stories. That's the bottom line. At its heart, it is a life-affirming exercise that always happens. If you can picture 2 Bedouin tribes meeting for the very first time between the Tigris and the Euphrates, they've never come, one from the east, one from the west, and they come, and when they get past the fact that they're not there to eat or kill each other, and they get past the few basic hand signals, eventually it gets to, you've got a wife? Let me tell you about my wife. Remember Mel Brooks' 2,000-Year-Old Man? He really nailed it there. And people start telling stories to each other because it helps them feel like they're connected, like they're in this together, like there's something we have together, you know. Then you dress it up with pretty girls or a lot of action or guns or whatever the hell people seem to feel they need to fulfill their needs of so many needs. At its heart, it's a religious exercise telling stories.